What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Monday morning. A new week. Still plenty of transfer news to discuss in the world of Manchester United. Still plenty of transfer rumours to discuss. Still lots to discuss when it comes to people leaving the club, possibly Cristiano Ronaldo's fake news. As Cristiano said last night on social media, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Antony and how he's been priced out of a move to Manchester United this summer. We're going to be talking a little bit, not too much, because it's way too warm to get this all fired up about Frenkie de Jong. But we are going to be talking a little bit, a smidge about Frenkie de Jong this morning. We're going to be talking about an interesting piece by Rob Dawson as well, about Erik ten Hag and his high standards for Manchester United in the pre-season tour, which I think is quite a good window into Ten Hag's philosophy since he's come into Manchester United. And we're going to have a few extra details when it comes to the signing of Lisandro Martinez as well. So there's plenty to get into. Joined by Marcel this morning. How are you feeling, Marcel? You cool enough? You warm enough this morning?
Yeah. Wow, it's a hot day, It's actually looking like it's going to be a hot day today. So just looking forward to Eriksen. I want to see Eriksen play for the side now. I want to look forward to the next game.
You're going to have to wait a while, though. You're going to have to wait a while. Cristiano Eriksen ain't playing for a while, though.
I mean, Crystal Palace is going to be the biggest game for us out of all the preseason. So it would have been nice for it to see him part of it. But I just want to see Eriksen play, the new signings play a few games of preseason. Just looking forward to the season now.
Yeah, it must be said, by the way, guys, if you are in the UK today, particularly in those hot spaces, stay safe, stay hydrated. Today and tomorrow, it's going to get up to, this is weather view already, but it's going to get up to like 37, 38. I think tomorrow, like 39, 40, could be record-breaking temperatures. So make sure you stay hydrated. Yeah. If you've got a fan, use it. Keep your windows open and keep out of the sun because it's going to be pretty intense, no doubt about that. Be also sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let's try and get to 500 likes straight off the bat so we don't even have to do it later on as well. Like we always say, set the standard. Take your shoes off, relax. Take your shoes off, put the fan on, put a wet towel on your head. Click the like button. That's what we really want. And if you do wish to join the UB Members Club, you can do so by clicking the link in the video description below. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis. I've seen people actually now that have been members for 2 months. The badge has turned color, Marcel. Once it was red, now it's green. It shifts color through your longevity of support. So if you wish to join in with that fun, you can do so. Click the link in the video description. Plus, you get your emojis such as your Mr. Phelan, your Flex, your KG, your Bomb. More emojis coming soon. And you get your exclusive members-only content as well. We
need our own emojis, man, Owen, man. We need our own emojis.
One day, maybe one day. Maybe that's the next step, obviously, in the UV Members Club. Red Baron with the super chat says, "Remember to keep humans/dogs out of locked cars." Yes, exactly. And I think it's a tip, isn't it, to keep your curtains closed. If you keep your curtains closed as well, that helps as well. So, and try and get like a mister, a sprayer or something that you can constantly spray yourself with. These are the tips you need. I told you, it's weather view. Yeah. Weather view this morning. Let's talk about Antony, though, and how he's not going to be coming to Manchester United this summer, Marcel. Reported by Tyrone Marshall from the Manchester Evening News. What pretty much I think most people knew at this point is that Ajax have priced Antony out of a move and Manchester United no longer expect to sign him this summer. Now, I say most people expected this because, one, as soon as we started hearing those prices a couple of weeks ago, 70 million. 80 million they were asking for Antony. Everyone, I think, universally went, that is way too much. That's a club that doesn't need to sell and doesn't want to sell, but everyone has a price, but that is a ridiculous price. And I think then, once we sign Lisandro Martinez, which was announced yesterday, then you go, well, they're really in the position where they don't need to sign. So it looks like no Antony this summer.
It's a big shame, really, because I think this was maybe number 2 or 3 on the list, really, for Ten Hag. In terms of after you get the centre back, you maybe want to go centre midfielder. Well, centre midfielder first in Frenkie, but I don't know. I feel like we've missed out a bit on opportunity here. I don't think next season we'll be able to get him. If I'm honest, I think he'll be a lot cheaper, but I just don't think there'll be so many clubs in Europe that will be looking for his signature. So I think we've missed a bit of an opportunity here, but it's way too expensive. It just quite simply is way too expensive. We shouldn't be paying that kind of money for someone that's pretty much unproven, got a lot of talent, but We've got Sancho. We've got other players that are in and around the same age and younger. We've got even youth players that are a lot younger that he'll be taking up the minutes that they'll be potentially getting. So I don't know. Maybe we've missed this one, and it's a blessing in disguise.
Drew Severs says, "How about just getting AC?" Well, this is the thing, Drew, is that it doesn't exist in the UK. It's in America and other places. Houses are built with aircon in, but not here. No, this doesn't. It just open a window. We're not used to the hot temperatures, so when it happens, it's intense. But yes, I am with you, Marcel, when it comes to Antony. I do think we'll go back in for him in the same way that I think we'll go in for Yuri and Timber. Whether that's in January or whether that's next summer, I do think we'll go back in for the player. You've said something similar to what KG said, where he thinks he's actually going to be more expensive next season. But I disagree with that. I think one less year on his deal, Ajax would be in a position once again where they would be not having to, but they would be open to selling players. Because you've got to remember, Ajax is a revolving door somewhat. They're not opposed to what they are, which is a selling club. They're a successful club and they achieve a lot. And particularly under Erik ten Hag, they became somewhat of a more powerful force, especially in European competition once again. But they are still who they are, which is a selling club, a developing club for players. And the situation this summer when it pertained to Antony was just that they had sold all of their players at this point, or the players they had budgeted to sell. I don't even know if they'd really budgeted to sell Lisandro Martinez, really. That was kind of a move that the player had forced through a little bit, and Edwin van der Sar eventually sort of signed off on it, going, okay, let's just let the player go. But they had sold players. They sold their right back. They'd sold Haller. They'd sold Gravenberch as well. They raised a lot of money this summer. They weren't in the position where they needed to do it. This time next year, they'll still need to raise that money once again, or they'll still be looking to sell their players on. Will they be selling Antony for 70 million around this time next year? I mean, anything's possible. This guy might have a great season in the Eredivisie. He might have a great World Cup. We know what happens when someone has a good World Cup. It raises their fee exponentially. So maybe it'll be a similar price. Myself, I feel like maybe we could see a situation whereby all of the scrutiny that's been on Antony this summer maybe has a little bit of a drop-off in form. You could maybe see that. You could see, again, maybe doesn't have the best World Cup, a year less on his contract. Maybe it's a Sancho situation where United sort of go, actually, you know what? We wait a year, we can get a little bit more off that fee as well. So maybe that'll be the case for Antony. But that shouldn't be the case, though, Marcel, whereby we don't go after any right winger now because we go, oh, it was just Antony or nobody. Surely there would have to be alternatives around.
Maybe versatile forward is what I would say. Versatile forward, someone that can play out wide and in the central area as well. Because I don't think Ronaldo, that's another big issue there. If Ronaldo stays, then I think you maybe focus on a winger. But if he doesn't, then you want somebody that can play in the wide area and in the central areas. It depends it would be interesting to see who comes up. Like who would you want to purchase? With the current market as it is now, who would you look for?
It's difficult to say, to be honest, because I don't know who we've been linked with for a right winger. How many right wingers have we been linked with? We were linked with Gnabry, signed a new contract. Talking about versatile forwards, I don't think we were really linked with Dybala, to be honest. I think that was Dybala trying to link himself with us. He's gone to Roma. That's been confirmed this morning by Fabrizio Romano. So he's not coming to Manchester United. So this is the interesting point now, I do think, with United, is that the players we have been linked with, strongly, bar Frenkie de Jong, which is still ongoing. But those players we have actually been linked with, we've got at this point. Malacia, Martinez, Eriksen, we were linked with them heavily. We've got them. Again, the Frenkie de Jong situation is what it is. But now it's almost a case of we're going to have to wait for like a new round of links. Which I don't know how I feel about that, because that drove me insane coming into June and all the way through June. So that's going to be quite interesting. But I do think we're still going to be linked with players, and especially in that right forward position.
So I think that the players that we're going to be linked with now will be players that the board wants. A lot of these players recently have been like, Ten Hag options. If we can't get the main option, which would be the first choice right winger, for example, in Antony, then maybe we go for somebody else that maybe the board wants. I'm not sure who, but maybe a marquee signing, somebody that, has got a big name, or there's players I think around in the market.
Red Baron with the super chat says, UK is terrible at cold weather and hot weather. This is very true. I mean, whenever it snows, the country comes to a
When
standstill.
when has it last snowed?
But whenever it does, though, country comes to a
Mm,
standstill. It goes crazy. But if it's hot, it goes crazy.
yeah,
It
yeah,
rains a lot. I mean, towards the end of last year, it was all the wind, wasn't it? With
yeah,
all
yeah.
that going on. But yeah, we just don't deal well with any kind of sort of, I'll say extreme, but any sort of spike in weather doesn't work out.
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't it doesn't work
Everyone
out at
goes
all.
crazy when it's too
They
hot or
do.
they're complaining, and
They
then when it's
do.
too cold, they're complaining. Everyone's just
But for
wasting time.
me, I'm one of those people, Marcel. I've said this before that like my preference always is winter over summer. I'm one of those people.
Yeah,
I prefer it to be cold because I feel like if you're cold, you can always warm up. I feel like if you're warm, it's difficult to cool down. That's
yeah,
more
yeah.
challenging. I like the idea, or I like it in the winter where you do wake up where it's cold, but you make yourself warm in bed. I hate waking up where it's boiling. You go, oh, you don't really sleep that well. It's the worst. It's the worst.
It's the most challenging out of the two, but I think it's nicer to be in warm country. It's good for you.
Let us know in the live chat what you prefer. Lil Yo says boo. Oh, and summer all day.
Yeah,
Slee says I prefer spring and autumn. I'm a winter guy. I think of a good sort of football season going on. You're in the intense parts. I liked it playing. When you played like Sunday League in the winter as well. Rubbish
yeah, yeah.
pitches, rubbish weather, intense games.
I don't mind playing in the rain. I don't mind playing in the rain.
Yeah, the sort of the
Conditions.
festive period as
Yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah.
I enjoy all of that. And again, whether it's cold, you stay indoors. You go, I'm not going outside. It's freezing today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I prefer that. Although, as Lil Yo says, summer with a light breeze is the one. That's my sort of thing. If there's a bit of a breeze, I'll take that, but not like today.
It's
Just
humid. It's a bit humid right now today.
yeah, I don't
Mm.
like it. I don't like it. Let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, because it wouldn't be a transfer show without talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. And he has actually responded for the first time to speculation about his future away from Old Trafford and has spoken about the rumours and reports surrounding him being fake. Now, this was coming from some reports from Portugal. It's bizarre with Ronaldo. It was like, remember one a couple of weeks ago, it was his car outside of the Portuguese national training ground or whatever. And then it came out that it was his car, but he wasn't driving his car or something like that. Now there were reports yesterday that he possibly could be going on loan to Sporting Lisbon this summer or moving to them back to his first club this summer. And it was an outlet called Sport TV Portugal said on Instagram, there's more hope in signing Cristiano Ronaldo. A photo is circulating on social media that say it's the Portuguese international's car in the Jose Alvalade Stadium garage, basically saying, again, another one of Ronaldo's cars outside a stadium or a training complex. And Ronaldo went on Instagram and responded to this saying simply fake. So he is denying that is not the case. But what is interesting with that, Marcel, is that he is happy to go on social media to say that a report linking him to Sporting is fake. But he has said nothing about any reports that he's unhappy or being linked away from Old Trafford. Therefore, admitting, I suppose, but via, was it admission via omission? Admission via omission, that's it. That he is unhappy. Because if anything of that's been written about him in the last month or so was fake, he would have gone out and just gone, that's fake.
Fake.
But he
Yeah,
hasn't.
yeah. Listen, this is one of the most annoying sagas of them all. I mean, he's meant to just honor his contract. I don't know why we're going back and forth through this right now. I need him to hurry up and join the tour. If he's joining, if he's not, then he has to go. It's very simple to me.
But would you say that in fairness to that, the reason he's not joining the tour is because of the personal problems that we don't know about?
Yeah, but how long are we giving him for until it's looking like, this has gone past the point of too much? I've even heard stuff about him. There's rumors around him everywhere. I mean, I've seen stuff about him potentially joining Atletico Madrid or something in the
Yeah, I
works.
don't buy that. I mean,
Yeah,
could you
but
imagine? I mean, Ronaldo, there is obviously some big legends when it comes to Real Madrid, but Ronaldo is the top goal scorer. I know
for,
maybe the way he
for Real
finished Real
Madrid.
Madrid. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
I know, Owen, but at the end of the day, this is just ridiculous now. It's getting too silly. If he's joining us, he's joining us. If he's not, he's not. And I hope that this is just speculation and that, between himself and Ten Hag, they've spoken and they know exactly what the situation is, because anyone's guess is as good as whatever now at this point. And it's a bit silly now. I need to know if he's staying. I've got Martial that looks like he's playing well right now. and someone needs to push these players and make sure that they're hitting the standards. If it's not him, then off he goes.
It's strange because it does still seem like he might change just out of the fact that nobody's willing to pick him up or nobody wants him.
Yeah.
And him actually responding to these reports saying, "Oh, they're fake." I don't know. Obviously, clearly, we're not going to see Ronaldo on the tour, so we're not going to hear or see him in the next week. Whether or not he plays in those pre-season friendlies, either one, the back-to-back, the one in Oslo, the one at Old Trafford, I guess that would be the next thing. It feels like maybe by the end of this week, we should hear something about the future when it comes to Ronaldo, because, yeah, he's not going to join us on tour. But to your point, we don't know, and it's not for us to pry, frankly, into what these personal issues are. We don't know. Rio Ferdinand kind of alluded to them and said, don't question his professionalism. And I don't think people necessarily are. I do think there's a line when it comes to you've offered yourself up enough to other clubs. People have said no. Okay, like you're staying. Clearly, you're staying.
Yeah.
You can't just be away for the whole season. Again, we don't know about the personal issues, but you would assume, again, with the personal issues, that what would that mean if he got a move to, say, he went to Bayern this week? Those personal issues surely are still there, right?
100%. 100%.
They're still there. Does he join up with them on what they're doing for pre-season as well? So I would assume, or I would hope, by the end of the week we hear something about what his situation is, and whether he has to come out and say, yeah, I tried to leave and it didn't happen, so I'm here. That's what it is. Fine, fair enough. But it's just this. I was thinking about it before we went live. It's just a really odd situation when you think about it. You got this club team on tour doing things, developing, and manager trying to implement his system and his style there, and then you do have this player in another country, granted for reasons that we don't really know too much about, and it's not for us to know. But also, he's offering himself up to all of these other clubs. That's just bizarre. It's a strange situation.
Our whole window's been strange, and business has been very difficult at times in terms of Frenkie de Jong and now Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, I've given him the benefit of the doubt before. At the end of the day, family issues is family issues, but this is dragging on a bit too much now in terms of you're going to other clubs during this time to speak to them. There's no need for that. If you're staying, you're staying. If you're going, you're going. Yes, I understand your ambition and you're very singular in mind when it comes to what you want to achieve in the game at this stage of your career. But if nobody wants him, and we kind of need him right now. So I don't know. He needs to get with the program. He needs to just get his head down and focus on Manchester United and his World Cup year. There's other things.
Duncan says, and this is always interesting when you bring up Ronaldo, because he still is quite a divisive or polarizing person, especially the situation at the moment. Says you're reading way too much into Ronnie. I would have agreed with you, Duncan, right at the beginning of all of this. And as I've said before, I do think the personal situation is separate. I do think that's separate. And you do have to kind of do your best to separate them. But the fact that, again, he has clearly publicly been offered to lots of these different clubs, the fact that you have, top tier journalists saying, no, Chelsea have turned down the opportunity to sign him. The fact that this weekend alone, you had Oliver Kahn and the sporting director of Bayern Munich publicly come out and say, once again, because what is crazy is that a couple of weeks ago, they came out publicly and said, no, we're not going to sign Cristiano Ronaldo. It doesn't fit to what we want to do. Lewandowski goes to Barca. I saw all of that this morning. Lewandowski joining up with Barcelona in America with the worst introduction video you've ever seen in your life. It's literally just filmed on a phone like this. It's crazy with wind blowing on a beach. So they signed Lewandowski and everyone goes, wow, Ronaldo's the replacement. You had a couple of German-based journalists going, Ronaldo to Bayern, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. And they came out again and went, no, once again, we said, we're not...
It's embarrassing.
We're not getting Ronaldo. So I don't know. And then I guess now it moves on. Atletico, and everyone goes, and it'll take Atletico to come out and go, no, we're not. And you have to remember, this is a guy that is still under contract. He is still
embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. I don't understand it. It would be better off if he goes, if I'm honest, because he at 37, 38. What can you really, in terms of ability on the pitch? what are you offering us except for your 20 plus goals, which I've said previously?
Well,
We're
he's a
definitely
striker.
going to miss those.
That's what he's meant to do, isn't it? Is it not?
Yeah, but now we want him with the structured press. We want him to, he's not physically capable of playing twice a week, I don't think. Not on the Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Monday. I don't think so. So
maybe that'll be part of his thing. I don't want to play Europa League. Fine, don't play it. Just play in the Premier League. That's how you avoid the theme song.
I think Ten Hag just is gonna make him involved heavily in the first team and however he does that. But it's just, if he just wants to go elsewhere, let him go, man. Nobody's bigger than the club, like I've said before, includes Cristiano Ronaldo.
Vishal, the super chat, said, I have a bad feeling about Ronaldo staying now. Really hope it's not a Pogba situation all over again. Will be detrimental for the morale of the club. I don't know. I don't know when it comes to... I think, and again, this is why I hope that we get at some point, maybe this week or the week after, some kind of confirmation from him or from the club as to what's happening. Because I do think that when he is somewhere, he is committed, shall we say. I don't think you can question his professionalism when the season's going. But all of this is just, again, and take the personal stuff out of it. Let's just push that to the side. It still is a guy that is being publicly offered to lots of clubs, and it does, well, it reeks of desperation. And United have to just sort of stand back and let it happen. And I think from their perspective as well, from Richard Arnold and John Murtough, I think from their perspective, it's a game of like poker, because they think, fine, offer yourself out. We know nobody wants you. And eventually you'll have to settle in. And if they keep publicly saying he's not for sale, when it comes to the point where Ronaldo comes back and goes, oh, nobody wants me, we can go, yes, we told you you're not for sale, but we never got an offer. So that's why. Red Baron says, spring is the best. Goldilocks month. I'm a fan of spring. Actually, no, my birthday's in autumn. Spring's like, what, March-ish time, isn't it? March to...
Yeah. April.
I don't mind spring. Usually, sometimes in the UK, you get a bit of a hot spring, sometime in about April time. I don't mind that, but it can still be quite breezy. So I don't mind that, actually. I'm a fan of spring. Stephen says, he offers leadership experience and over 20 goals a season. Name one other player that offers this. Marcel.
Leadership, we can go to Varane. I think we can expect leadership from him. We can expect leadership from
if he plays.
Yeah, if he plays. We can expect it maybe from Bruno as well. De Gea, he's been at the club long enough. He's got leadership qualities. Yeah, he's got it. But 20 plus goals, we've had a front three where they've all scored 10 plus. And I think, you want to share the goals out. You want across the board.
Big statement, Marcel. It's a big statement. Do you think that front three, if Ronaldo left and you had a front three of Martial, Sancho, and Rashford combined, do they score as many goals as Ronaldo did last season?
Yes, of course. Yes, they do. And I think that's where you want the trajectory of the team to go, where, there's more players that are on double figures goals. I think that's because you want because when Ronaldo wasn't firing, we was in an issue last season, man. There was a period where he just wasn't scoring. Watford, Burnley, there was a couple of games, and even Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, he had a penalty early on and he missed, Well,
he had the longest period of like in 10, 12 years, didn't he? Where he hadn't scored a goal for however many games. Again, I think that is worth pointing out, because that is accurate, that there was a period of time around Christmas that he wasn't scoring goals. Obviously, he comes back and gets back-to-back hat-tricks. That's how you put that to bed. I do think, again, what he offers is what Erik ten Hag said. He offers goals. And when he plays, he will score goals. That is just what he does. Again, my biggest issue with it is just, when's enough? Okay, I tried it. I tried to leave. I asked, didn't happen. I'm staying here, clearly. But it just, the longer it goes on, the more it's like really, really sort of desperate. It's like end of the night at a club, and he's looking around who's left over. Oh, and everyone's going, no, I won't go near you. That's the situation with Cristiano Ronaldo
right now. Right now. It just needs to end. And I do still think we'll get a focused Ronaldo. After all of this, like you said, professionalism, when that season starts, I still believe, and I've said it before, he's going to be focused. He's got a World Cup year coming. He's going to want to be in good goal scoring form. He's got his own ego to deal with as well. He wants to be one of the best in the team still. It's just that we can't match his ambitions. It's a conflict of interest right now. But
yeah, and that's a good point. That's a good point. That's what I was going to say. You just reminded me that I don't think anyone, and this was my opinion at the start as well, him saying, I want to leave because I don't think the club is ambitious enough. I don't think that we're going to win trophies. I've only got 3 or 4 years left at the top level. I want to win trophies. I don't think the club matches my ambitions. I think every United fan goes, fair enough, because you can't deny that. You can't say United are going to win a trophy this season. You would say, in terms of the ambition that Cristiano Ronaldo has, clearly the club does not match his ambition. Clearly, because his ambition is to win the title or win the Champions League. We're miles off that. So if that is the case, like everyone said, go, fair enough. Offer yourself out to the clubs. But there is a line. Once you've done it, which you have, and you've got the response of no, then you go, wow, I'm staying then.
Exactly,
not I got turned down and then going, anyone else interested? Because they weren't interested. That's the line, isn't it?
It's time to get on the tour and get your head down and work with the players that are around. But I understand if it's family issues, then I respect that and I give him the benefit of the doubt for now. But once the season, he needs to be in condition and ready to play. So it's the longer this takes and the better. The more I see Martial doing Martial things right now, it's like, how are you gonna add and fit into this team?
And it's interesting as well, speaking about like conditioning, because Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail reported this morning that Sheffield United players were surprised to see Cristiano Ronaldo training on his own on the pitch next to them during their training camp at Lisbon that occurred in early July. So he has still been training whilst he's been in Portugal. It's not a case of, and look, Ronaldo's never to come back out of condition. Look at the man. He's ridiculous. But I just imagine that. You just go on your preseason tour, Sheffield United, you go, who's on that pitch over there? I go, that's Cristiano Ronaldo. You go, oh. Wow. Oh, didn't see that one coming. Stephen says, great point. Ronnie stops firing and no one steps up. We need him and suits the Erik ten Hag system. Well, that's the point that Stephen makes there, Marcel, is that last season he did stop scoring, but nobody stepped in. So would that be a concern if Ronaldo's not there? By a proxy of, is anyone going to step up? Are we going to be a case like last season where Ronaldo didn't score, so nobody scored? Because that time he wasn't scoring, we either lost or we drew 0-0.
Yeah, facts. So, last season, we got to put in the context of Ralph, disharmony within the dressing room, no Antony Martial, who I don't think should be at the club, but is showing right now early signs. Rashford, and this is a rejuvenated Rashford. This is I'm going to say, I'm going to call it early. And Sancho's looking a lot sharper, so no Martial, rejuvenated Rashford. The front line, I'm expecting more goals and fluency from them. So, and it's a Ten Hag system.
We've nearly got 1,400 people watching, less than 300 likes. It's 222 on the like at the moment. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Again, the 500 is always the aim. Let's get to 500 now. Only a couple of hundred of you need to click like, and then we're done.
Just 250 plus.
Get to 500, and then it's done. Easy.
Yeah.
Settle in. So be sure to smash a like on the like button and be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner as well. Marcel, let's talk about Frenkie de Jong, which again, we won't spend a lot of time because I don't have it in me today to get into the Frenkie de Jong saga. But Samuel Lucas from the Manchester Evening News is saying that Manchester United have hosted Frenkie de Jong's agent, Ali Dursun, at Carrington already this summer. That was for the Terrell Malacia deal. He is believed to have informed Barcelona that de Jong does not want to leave, but Barcelona want to sell the player. United have suspected that pressure would cause him to fold. Manchester United maintain de Jong being owed 17 million by Barcelona is a major issue. What is quite interesting in that report there, and this is a concern, and I go back and forth from this deal a lot. Last week, I was quite confident. Coming into this week, I'm not as confident. I'm not going to lie. And opinions are allowed to change and evolve over time when more information comes out. But the idea that United pursued this deal or are pursuing all of this deal on the assumption that, he doesn't want to leave, but the pressure will force that through, that is concerning.
That's where we're at. Owen. That's where we're at with this deal. It's on Frenkie de Jong. That's who has all the power right now. So we have to. That's our only hope. That's my only hope. Because at the end of the day, Laporta is given an environment where, we don't want you here part of the club. We've got replacements in, you're on massive wages compared to everyone else. We're trying to restructure the wage budget. I think, you know, that this environment will be a situation where Frenkie de Jong has to leave, and you know, we get him on that premise. I can't see it being anything else because he wants to be part of that club, and Xavi would prefer him stay. I think so.
Do you think? Do you think, like United think, he will fold to the pressure eventually of Barca saying that he has to leave? Like,
Yeah.
but Barca haven't. I don't think Barca have really. They obviously they've negotiated a deal for him to leave. There's a fee that's been accepted, but it would appear that the player is still obviously digging his heels in the sand, as it were, particularly when it comes to this deferred wages thing, which Manchester United say is a major stumbling block. But he still is on the tour, so it's not as if he's been completely forced out of the group Bastian Schweinsteiger settings, you know, when he's training with the under-23s and he's doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think Frankie still has a look around and goes, look, they're not going to give me my money now, which is a big problem, so I'll stay. And I'm still on tour. And that's what happens when it comes to the friendlies. If he's playing in the friendlies, what happens then? Does he then get the signals from Barca actually of, oh, maybe you do stay?
It's a good point. And I'm gonna have to wait and see what happens. I just feel like, you know, he's being professional, so he's been part of the tour. He's been training with the squad. He's being professional. But we'll have to see what happens. You could be exactly right. You know that, you know, they end up turning around and saying, "Yep, stay," and that would benefit him. I think that's what he wants. It's just I don't think Laporta and the board want him to stay. It's better that he's one of the assets that gets sold. They've got so many new players coming in. How have they? Obviously, they've recuperated all this money they've basically mortgaged the next 25 years of their La Liga TV rights at 25%. And that's given them a huge influx of money right now. So they're able to sell players, but to buy players. But I think they still need some outgoings at the end of the day. And I think Frenkie de Jong will be one of them. Not because he wants to be, but because he's been forced out to be.
My feeling is that this could and probably will end up getting very nasty. I think that Barca, and what's crazy is this is Barca playing nice with Frenkie de Jong. So saying, yeah, come on the tour. There's probably some merchandising and sponsorship contracts that imply or that say that you have to bring certain players on the tour or a certain strength or quality or caliber of player on the tour. Maybe that's why he's on there. Just because he's on the tour, there have been plenty of people that have been on preseason tours that move halfway through. Cristiano Ronaldo was on the bench for Juventus in the first game of last season, and he's a Manchester United player right now. So anything's possible with that. So you can read maybe too much into that. My feeling is that this could get really nasty, i.e., again, forcing him to train with other people or just basically saying that you're not welcome. You're not going to show up, you know, because even with the money that they've got through the financial levers and all that kind of stuff, they still will have an issue of registering players when it comes to a salary situation because Frenkie de Jong is on a really big contract.
Salary, yeah.
So eventually, when push comes to shove, and I don't know what the registration date is for players. I have a feeling it's probably later this month, maybe in August or something like that. When it comes to that, again, that's when things might start getting nasty. In the weeks that lead up to that, that's when things start getting nasty. And if we've learned anything from this Frenkie de Jong saga this summer, it's just when you think like it's over, it starts back up again. And just when you think it's done, it looks like it's going to be over. That is how this thing has worked. Every single time we've agreed a broad agreement, a day later, well, he's going to stay. 2 days later, we've agreed like a full, well, I say 2 days later, weeks later, there's a full agreement. The player, you know, what's going on here, deferred wages. So don't be shocked if this week you think it's over and then something else happens when it comes to it about, exactly. I don't know, him being forced out even more. My feeling is it will get nasty. And if it gets nasty, he will end up coming to United. I would be lying if I said I was as confident as I was last week. Last week, when we started hearing about those, you know, full agreements of fees, I thought, wow, okay, this looks like it is going somewhere. And when we were leading up to some of the preseason stuff and him coming back off holiday, I thought, well, this is going to be the make or break week. And nothing happened. It felt like it broke. But as I mentioned, Barcelona, I've stopped trying to figure out how they do things. I've stopped trying to figure out how they operate because I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. Everyone's asking where they got money. Lewandowski showed up in America, and everyone's like, "How?
Yeah. Rafinha, all of these players. How? What's going on? How?
Exactly.
I mean, look, we should just not worry about this deal. a lot of Man United fans at this point just don't care about it. They want us to move on as soon as possible, and I understand that sentiment. But I'm not worried about this deal. This deal will happen, and I think he will be a Manchester United player in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind that that will happen. It's just the amount of time that it's taken, and we just have to be patient with this one.
I do think this one could be a August deal. And when I say August, a late August deal. I wouldn't even be shocked. I don't know when the La Liga season starts. I wouldn't be shocked if he plays maybe a game for Barca or something. I'd honestly, who knows? Again, I've stopped trying to predict it. Jermaine says, does Ronaldo walk into the team if he misses the whole preseason? And what message does that send to the rest of the team? What message does that send to the rest of the team, Marcel, if after all of this madness, first game of the season, Ronaldo's up front?
That's straight back to disarray. There was a huge problem within the changing room last season, and now a man that hasn't been part of the work and the suffering that the team has had through this preseason to get ready and get into the right condition. Ronaldo can't just walk in and I don't think Ten Hag would do that, especially not to the confidence of Martial, which I think is important for him in particular as a player. So I think he would have to. He'll be on the bench for sure, and that would be no issue. I think Ten Hag's not afraid to put anyone on the bench, even Captain Maguire. I think he will happily have anybody on the bench if they're not following, if they're not been part of the training, if they've not been professional or been part of what he wants. I think, and imagine missing the whole preseason and being back. The first 3 games, even the first 2 games. I just don't think it would happen.
Can you imagine the amount of camera zooms that will be on Cristiano Ronaldo for that opening game of the season? He's on the bench against Brighton.
But if we win, they'll be all worth it. It's nothing. It doesn't matter to me at all. And I would expect us to be part of a winning side anyway, the first game of the season. So and I don't mind.
Red Baron says Barca moving like the 2006 US housing market. Well, yeah, was it 2008 housing market crash?
Yeah,
you do get the impression when it comes to Barca, like just in a couple of years. I mean, if you think it's bad now, like something could happen with them. I don't know. They are moving mad.
They're going to be making a lot less money now for the next God knows how long. So it's going to be difficult. I mean, they've got a massive academy, amazing academy. Sorry. So
yeah, great young players. It's not a case of like, again, with some of the young players they have, it's not a case of in like 2 or 3 years. I'm sure they'll have they've got a really strong side this season, especially with the players that they've signed, right? Yep. Lewandowski, I mean, they're going to be better than they were last season. The season the team they started last season with for Barcelona was a disgrace. Yeah, their front 3 went from like Messi, Griezmann, and Suarez or whatever. I remember the season before to like Luke De Jong, Depay. It was ridiculous. It really took the mick. And obviously, look, they're a lot better this season, and I'm sure La Liga will be very interesting because of it, and that their hope will be that they're going to be doing things in the Champions League again, because they don't want to have what they had last season when they go out in the Champions League group stage. That was embarrassing, and then them in the Europa League, and then they lose to Frankfurt. They don't want that, but it's even more pressure. I mean, if there's pressure on you anyway when you sign big players, and there's pressure on you when you're Barcelona, there's even more pressure when, like you said, you've mortgaged part of your future on this team. Yeah. If it doesn't work out, then that might be a bit of an issue. Let's talk about Erik ten Hag. Again, a really interesting report here by Rob Dawson this morning, talking about Ten Hag's attitude, his mentality on this preseason tour so far. There's quite a lot to get into here. So Rob Dawson said, it's traditional on preseason trips for the manager to hold news conferences after the games, but Erik ten Hag has explained to club staff that his time would be better spent plotting the following day's training session. Erik ten Hag's message to his players and the 120-strong tour party has been clear. They are here to train, and nothing should get in the way of that. Suggestions that Manchester United players could be made available for media work before sessions have also been knocked back by Erik ten Hag, who was asked to be kept abreast of everything his squad are doing, from interviews to commercial work. An idea was floated for MUTV to film Manchester United players on the set of Australian soap opera Neighbours just outside Melbourne, but it was another no from Erik ten Hag. The aim, most of the days on tour have involved double sessions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And there have been training on the morning before games too. one drill used regularly involves 7 players trying to keep the ball away from 3 others in a tight space. The aim for the larger group is to keep the ball as long as possible, while the smaller group tries to win it and score into small nets at either end of the tiny pitch. A goal is valuable, and it means 3 new players are subbed in to chase the ball in the middle. Erik ten Hag has demanded high standards from his first session, but privately accepts it will take time for his new players to get things right. That is quite fascinating, I think. Especially the idea of him controlling a lot of the media stuff, I think is really, really interesting, because it's right. Traditionally, after preseason games, like in the season, you have your press conference the day before, you have your game, you obviously have your interview before the game, your interview after the game, and then after that, you do a press conference with everyone. And Ten Hag's basically saying, no, I don't. It's all about training. And then going, what about some media commitments before the game for the players? Nope, all about training. What about going to the set of Neighbours to do a bit of some commercial thing? Nope, it's all about training. That's what we're here to do. And maybe and to be fair, we have heard a lot from people like Louis van Gaal, right? Manchester United is a commercial club. It's all about the commercial thing. That to me is Erik ten Hag saying, 1, I'm in charge, I control everything. And 2, yes, I'm happy to do some of the commercial stuff, but not at the expense of getting this right, because what I'm demanding is going to take a lot out of my players and a lot of understanding, and we only have limited time.
This is a coach. This is a coach, man. Since Louis van Gaal, funny you mentioned, this for me is a proper coach. And with that, his mentality, he's got an elite mentality. He is focused on trying to achieve something with these players. And that's how it has to be right now. Very happy to hear all of that. That's how it has to be right now. After last season, they need to buck up their ideas. And they look like they're working as a team right now. It's early signs for sure. And it's very early stages. But they look like they're working. So it has to be that kind of centralized focus on playing well, training well. You don't need to be doing any other commercial stuff right now. We're already very much commercially established. You don't need to be worrying about that right now. It's about performances in the training ground and getting them into the preseason games and then going into the first game of the season and performing well. That's got to be the focus of it.
Yeah, I mean, and it'll be interesting to see. And we've already kind of seen it in patches. I think we saw it more in that first half against Liverpool than maybe so against Melbourne. But we are seeing slowly this implementation of the Ten Hag style and system. Again, I think that's going to be depending on players and all that kind of stuff. But maybe, again, he's probably seen from these first couple of games, this is going to take a long time. And because of that, I can't have these sort of outside things. Again, I know it's part of it, and I know that is part of the tour, and there are events as part of the tour and interview and all that kind of stuff. But what really matters is the stuff on the pitch. That will always be the most important thing, and we have to get that right first.
No way. We are so far away from, challenging and being a top club in this country. Why are we worried about anything commercial right now, especially after last season? There's nothing should matter except for performances on the pitch and great managers. I'm pretty sure Sir Alex used to have issues with the media, in a sense that if they're not speaking to him in a certain way, or if he's having issues with the questioning and stuff, he's not participating. And you need managers that are able to control the relationship with the media side of things. And if he's saying it's nothing right now, we're focusing on football, that's what we've got to follow.
I said, that you had to be careful, guys. If you don't click the like button, he will appear. And he has appeared. It's Mr. Phelan. Mike Phelan myself is in the chat. And he is saying to click a like on the like button, because there is still over 1,300 people watching, still less than 500, Marcel. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what else we need to do.
How many?
There's 373. We need 130 to go. Just 130 of you that haven't done it. Just need to click like. That's it. Then Mike will once again just disappear back into sort of the Old Trafford shadows or the Carrington shadows, where no one really knows what he does now because he's not on the coaching staff. He's an ambassador.
Yeah.
Cones, tea. He can do it all. I heard he was cleaning the gutters out the other week at Carrington as well. He can do that. He can paint the ceiling. There's lots of things that Mike can do. Another thing is make sure that the likes continue to go up, because that's what Mike's about. That's what he's doing now. That's his legacy at Manchester United. Of course, it's the next game of preseason is tomorrow against Crystal Palace. Marcel was saying it's the biggest game, which is interesting. Yeah. There is going to be a match preview coming out today as well. Flex and KG, of course, have got that covered. So stay tuned for that, because that's going to be a good one. Interesting to hear their thoughts about what they think is going to happen. Just to touch on that briefly, Marcel, why do you say it's the biggest game? Because as time goes on, we're seeing more and more of what Ten Hag wants to see, I suppose.
Yeah, and then Premier League opposition as well. I think that there's another game that we're playing against Premier League opposition as well. But this one is more. I like what Vieira's done with Crystal Palace. So the way he set the team up, it's going to be maybe the most important game in terms of this is what we'll be seeing in terms of Premier League standard of opposition. Lot higher standard than what Liverpool obviously given us in terms of the two halves. I think they will play a bit more of a balanced team. And again, it will be most probably a low block to work against. So looking forward to seeing that.
Any names in particular you want to see start? I mean, we saw a couple of changes from the starting 11 last time. I think there was 3. One was enforced when it came to Heaton for De Gea. Other one was Maguire coming in for Varane, who was out with an injury. Anthony Elanga came in for Rashford, who came on in the second half and scored. Would you like to see anything a little bit different from that starting 11, i.e. Zidane, Iqbal, Charlie Savage?
Yeah, so I think the centre-back partnerships and the midfield partnerships is what I'll be looking at if he's made any changes to that kind of area of the pitch. So Eric Bailly with in a combination with maybe Maguire or Lindelof. In the middle, Zidane, Iqbal with a combination of Fred, or mix it a bit in terms of a senior player with a youth player, especially in the midfield area. And then for the centre back, I want to see a good centre back combination or a different one.
I tell you what, Marcel, you were saying some crazy things on the Full View last night with Eric Bailly. It was getting a lot of people's attention. I don't know if you noticed this. Of Eric Bailly will be. What did you say? Eric Bailly will be more available than Rafael Varane this season.
Yeah.
And did you say he was going to be better than him this
Better
season
than
as
him
well?
as well. Yeah, this season he'll be better than him. Yeah. It's a big statement, and
more available one is massive. That is a big thing to say.
I don't know. I hope that he's in better condition. He's a bit younger, than Varane. And he's coming into his prime, I believe. He's like 27, 26, 27, 28. Whereas Varane's like 29, 30. And they've both got poor fitness, of course, but I think he's going to be more available this season.
I feel like that's going to be, well, I've already clipped it. So that'll be coming back. That'll be coming back. And I have a feeling, and this is the thing with Eric Bailly, and again, it's no agenda against him.
Yeah.
But he could play every single, he's not playing full games, but he could play all of these halves in this preseason and play really well. And then first game of the season, he won't be in the squad. And you'll go, Eric, what's happened with Eric Bailly? And you go, oh, he's injured. And then we won't see him for like 3 months. That wouldn't be a surprise.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I hope you're wrong. And what I also said in the Full View was that Maguire and Lindelof will get the first go at the right centre back position. It's going to be, I think, 4 players competing for it, in my opinion. All right-footed centre backs, but I think Maguire and Lindelof will get the go ahead. So I don't expect to see Eric Bailly in the first couple games of the season. But when he does get his chance, I think he'll keep the position. And I don't think he'll be. I just really hope he'll be fully fit throughout the season, because he's a good player. He's a good to have on our team.
We can hope, though, Marcel. But where does hope turn into delusion? I hate to use that word, but when does it turn into that? When do we learn from our mistakes? We've spoken so much about learning from our mistakes of last season.
Yeah.
If we think Eric Bailly is going to be fit, I would say, Marcel, it's a warm day. You've got sunstroke. If you were saying that.
Well, it's the Ten Hag effect. We'll see what happens. I'm trusting that he's got control of everything in terms of player fitness, and those kind of things, in terms of making sure players are 100% fit before they start playing. Players are looking after themselves, conditioning, and I believe that this season will be better for us in terms of in all facets, including player fitness.
I hope. I mean, and look, Varane is not. Shouldn't be left out of that conversation as well. Obviously, Varane's achieved more. Varane, in my opinion, is a better defender. I mean, that's a radical statement to say, but this is a guy that during this preseason tour already has had like knocks twice. We've only had 2 games. It was surprising he played the first game because it was assumed that he was injured. He played and everyone went, "Oh, that's weird." He didn't play the second game, and they said, "What's going on with Varane?" They went, "Oh, a slight knock." We've only had 2 games. He's been injured twice already. That is wild.
See,
It's
he's
wild.
more lightweight than Eric Bailly, and for me also, I was saying before, like Eric Bailly's played well for Manchester United before. I'm not basing my bias or my agenda to have him in the side based on the fact that it's two 45-minute displays. He's played for the club all last season. Crazy blocks against Atalanta. Good performances. In games against. I think we played City. He scored a own goal in that game, I think. But he played well in the general play of the game. Do you know what I mean? So he's had performances for us where I thought, okay, yeah, he's good. He just needs to be fit. I don't think his defending ability is not what's in question here. It's just him being available. Similar to Varane, but Varane's just a bit more lightweight than Eric Bailly for me. He's not as brave and flinging his body in front of challenges, and
Because
he's not.
he doesn't need to be, because that's not his style.
Yeah,
Because when he does play, his defending is a bit more sort of let's say graceful than erratic, like
yeah,
Eric
yeah.
Bailly. Different styles. Troy Trey says, looking forward to Zaha cooking our defense. I don't think Zaha's ever going to leave Crystal Palace, actually. He gets linked away every summer and stuff like that, but that'll be an interesting test. I do want to talk about Lisandro Martinez briefly before we wrap things up, because a few extra details regarding the transfer. This comes from The Athletic. I think it's Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic. And it's an interesting story, Marcel, because it says that Manchester United did not have a centre-back high up on their list of priorities when drawing up summer targets a few months ago. But Erik ten Hag's arrival changed matters and raised Martinez to prominence. It continues. Martinez prefers playing in central defence, which is where Manchester United and Erik ten Hag view him primarily, which kind of puts to bed that defensive midfielder discussion a little bit. Negotiations with Ajax became more complex over Martinez as the talks went on. Richard Arnold and John Murtough travelled to Amsterdam last week to finalise talks, with Edwin van der Sar instrumental on the Dutch side of things. So I do think it's quite interesting that, one, they see him primarily as a defender. Maybe he might be put into defensive midfield for the odd game, if it's a big game or something like that. But they see him as a defender, which I think is interesting. But I think the most interesting part of that is that a couple of months ago, the centre-back wasn't really high up on their priorities. And we had heard that. Whilst if they could get a centre-back this summer, they would, but it wasn't high up on the list of priorities because other positions in their eyes were more important, and we just had so many centre-backs as well. So one, it's quite surprising that we have signed him. But two, again, it goes back to the manager being backed, because it's a case of Erik ten Hag going, I know it wasn't high up on the list of priorities, but I think we can get him. And if we can get him, we should get him. He's worth it.
Yeah, it was I believe Pau Torres and Darwin Núñez.
Yeah.
That was like the original touted players, and that was like Man United's list kind of thing before Ten Hag comes in. The players that they would like to give him available to utilize, but as soon as he comes in, he wants the list scrapped. And he has his targets, and clearly, he can clearly see Maguire doesn't have the capabilities. I think the whole rounded game to be able to do what he wants. Tuanzebe is a little bit younger, not good enough. Phil Jones needs to go. So centre backs definitely high up on the priority list.
Ed T and some others in the chat saying that Zaha didn't even go on the tour. I had heard that Palace were taking a lighter squad on the tour. So Zaha's not going to be cooking our defence. Dallo, etc., are going to be
Did he
getting
say
a bit of a
Elise
break.
as well? Did he say Elise?
I think
as
some
well?
others. Yeah, I think some
Wow,
others as
that's a
well.
good.
Yeah.
Those are two good players, and Gehi as well, centre back. Wow.
Yeah, good players that aren't going to be on the tour, which is certainly interesting. I mean, we kind of spoke about this last night, I suppose, a little bit when it comes to Martinez. But how instrumental do you think he is going to be for us? Because again, when you do look at the players that we have signed this summer, you can see what he's trying to do, Erik ten Hag, in terms of a spine, can't you?
Yeah.
In that, get a centre back that knows how to play, get a sort of deeper line playmaker in the midfield that knows how to play my style, Frenkie de Jong, if that happens. Christian Eriksen, again, can play that kind of style a little bit further advanced. We know that he's possibly looking for a striker or a winger. So he's definitely looking for that line, isn't he, through the team of those people can do what I want them to do. And then I guess the rest spreads via osmosis, right?
Yeah. I've read something about him saying he wants captains in each part of the pitch. And having players that understand his system in each part of the pitch, I think would be important for that. Ambidextrous in our attack, having left-sided centre backs on the left side, right side on the right side, being able to distribute the ball equally and evenly on different parts of the pitch. And he constructs movements and plays, and players have been saying it's very clear what he wants. So being able to construct the plays and the movement, and it being clear and obvious to the players what needs to be done, I think Martinez would be very key in that, being able to deliver what is required. And I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Is the height? A lot of people are saying the height is the issue. I don't know. It remains to be seen. And so far, so good from what I've seen in terms of him being able to be brave in challenges and aerial duels, and I think he'll be fine.
I think also I've seen some people on social media as well saying that United fans are getting gassed because they've signed a free transfer and a centre back and a backup left back. We're all excited. I think if you polled most United fans at this point, they would still say this season's still going to be really tough for us. Top 4 is still going to be a real tough challenge. That would be, if we finish season, say 4th, United fans would rip your arm off and take it all day, because they would go, right, that means next season we can get some proper big name players, etc. And it would prove that something is working when it comes to Ten Hag. I think, again, it comes back to United fans just want to watch games and enjoy them.
Yeah.
And watch the style of football that they like, that is entertaining to watch. Obviously, we want to be winning games, but after last season, we're not naive enough to think that we've signed 3 players and we're going to be challenging for titles or winning trophies. That's still a way off. And there are still going to be games this season that are like, the result isn't going to be not embarrassing, well, I hope not, but bad still. That's going to happen this season. And it's still going to be a massive, massive challenge. We've both said, me and you, I think you said 5, I said 4. Even if we sign all of those players, that is still going to be a case of next season we need to still buy the same amount of players. Like that is just the situation that Man United are in. Like, make no mistake, just because we've had a couple of good preseason games and we've signed some players, there are still a lot of work to do on this squad.
Just because I'm positive or optimistic about the team,
Yeah.
does not mean that we are going to be going through a very difficult season next year. I mean, it's his first time in the league. This is a completely different beast to what he understands. I believe that he's going to try and implement his system, and he's going to get things wrong. Through next season, he's going to get things wrong, and he's going to make mistakes, and we as fans are going to clearly see things that he wants to go and learn for himself, or give faith, like the Maguires, like the Luke Shaws, like the even Scott Alfred. He's going to be trying to play them consistently, believing or expecting a performance from them, and they may let him down. They've done that to us many a time. So, for me, it's a thing of he's coming into the league. He has to learn this league. He's coming in a World Cup year as well. It's so congested, the fixtures that he has to go through. So make no mistake, you're right, for sure. I'm not expecting us to win the league. We're challenging for 4th. And it's going to be a very difficult challenge. It's 4th to 6th for us next season for sure. I'm just very confident that this is the manager that will bring us trophies. So I believe in this process. I believe in what he's doing. I want us to learn what he's trying to teach us, because at some stage, whether it's 3 years from now, 4 years from now, he will be the one that will bring us back into dominance in this league, bring us back to Premier League trophies. And, we just have to give him that time to keep doing his work and believe in him.
An interesting comment here says we need to win Europa to get in the Champions League. I wouldn't rule that out whatsoever. I think that come sort of February, March time, we might be like, let's get all of those eggs in that Europa League basket, and we might really need it. Ideally, you'd already be in that top 4 race, but a lot of the sides around us, the ones that did qualify for the top 4 and the ones that didn't last season, they've all strengthened. Everyone's strengthened. Everyone's done good business. And even the people that maybe haven't done as big a business, i.e. your West Hams, it's not to say that they're going to be any worse this season. I don't think they'll still be West Ham. So it's going to be, and then you add in people like your Newcastles. It's going to be a really interesting season in that battle for all of the European spots. And again, I don't think United are out of, that's going to be a tough one. And make no mistake, again, just because we've signed a couple of players and hopefully we'll sign more, it's still going to be a big challenge. It really is. My hope is that, again, this time next year, hopefully somehow, whether it is by finishing 4th, whether it is by winning the Europa League, we'd be in the Champions League, because that really opens up our prospects for the season after when it comes to signing players. But that's a long way away, Marcel. We don't have to think about that right now.
Yeah, we're in the unknown. We're in the unknown, and we are an unknown entity. And that's why I'm happy it's his players, because the managers that he's coming up against won't know how to deal with his style at first. So that's the positive, that we are an unknown entity right now. We don't know who, we just don't know what's going to happen. But the early signs look good. So I'm looking forward to it, to be honest with you.
Looking forward to it. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. We did go over 500 likes, Marcel. We got there.
Yes.
We got there in
Yes.
the end. That's what we like to see. But if you haven't already, click a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Of course, if you do wish to join the UV Members Club, you can do so by clicking the link in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your exclusive members-only content, priority chat as well. As I mentioned, Flex and KD are going to be back shortly, I think maybe in a few hours' time, with the match preview for tomorrow's game against Crystal Palace. There's going to be no morning show tomorrow as well, because we're going to be inside UVHQ on that hot Tuesday day. Thankfully, there is AC in there.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be the coolest place actually around, so I'll take that. We're going to be live from UVHQ once again for another match view. It'll be DJ Marcel and myself. Hopefully, I tell you what, Marcel, for a studio that was jinxed and was cursed, and prior to preseason, we'd never won a game in there. I think me and you have got a bit of good luck going on.
It's been good. I'm saying. Yeah. I was about to say, it's been good. It's been really good the last few times that we've been in there. So, yeah.
Exactly. We'll take the victories. So we'll be back tomorrow. Plus, all of your fan views and Flex and KG will be out there, of course, in Australia as well. We're out of here. Have a good day and stay safe. Stay out of the sun. I'll speak to you again soon. Peace.